Here again with another Breaking Bad Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers, and certainly join me on this journey of rewatching this awesome show and discussing it, and tell a friend to watch it if they haven't yet. This will be Breaking Bad Season 1, Episode 5. The title of this episode is called Gray Matter. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. It was yesterday. Jesse has a job interview, and he's actually looking quite sharp in his suit. He thinks he would be an asset to their sales floor, but it wouldn't be a sales job, so to speak. It would only be holding a sign and turning a sign around, or spinning a sign around outside. So not quite what he was looking for, but Jesse's friend Badger is the one who currently is holding and spinning the sign. It's an arrow that you have to spin around. And Badger wants to be hooked up with some crystal, that good-ass crystal that Jesse had. And Badger tells Jesse that he can hook Jesse up with some pseudo, as he has connections to get it. Walt and Skyler are on the way to a party hosted by Elliot and Gretchen Schwartz, who, of course, Elliot was Walt's old partner, and Gretchen was Walt's potential former love interest, but they don't necessarily say that, but we're led to believe that. And Walt sees an old colleague there, Farley, and he talks about how great Walt was at Caltech. The Schwartzes get a guitar signed by Eric Clapton as one of their gifts, and Walt actually gets Elliot some noodles. It was what they used to eat at one point, all they used to eat for a long time at one point, to the man that has everything. So Elliot actually really likes that gift, and Walt and Elliot reminisce about old times, and Elliot misses this. Elliot wants Walt to come back and work for Gray Matter. I mean, he came up with the name, for crying out loud, and Walt tells Elliot that he has some personal issues. Elliot tells him that they have excellent health insurance. And then Walt figures out that Skyler had told Elliot about the cancer. Walt is mad at Skyler for telling Elliot about the cancer. She says Elliot pressed her, and that's why he could sense there was something off about Walt, and he pressed her for that information, according to Skyler. Walt tells Skyler he didn't accept Elliot's charity, and he doesn't want anybody's charity. Badger stops by Jesse's place with a duffel bag full of Sudafed and other, pills and all that, along with some munchies and stuff. And then Jesse takes Badger out to the desert to do a cook. Now, Badger is acting like a complete idiot, kind of like Jesse did when Walt and him went out for the cook. And he's really good for nothing, Badger, aside from bringing the Sudafed. Now, Walter Jr. wants a guy to buy a 6-pack of beer, and it turns out he's a cop. So instead of calling his father, Hank is called and tells Walter Jr., not cool. Not cool. You should have called your dad for this. And Hank wonders why he didn't call his father. And then Hank finds out that Walt was the one that was smoking the pot, and he can't believe it. Skyler wants to get everyone together to have a family meeting. Jesse made clouded glass. He screwed up the formula. He says, we'll do it again until we get it right. Walt gets home, and Skyler tells him to take a seat. Jesse cooked bad meth yet again. Badger gets pissed and they start fighting because initially Jesse had thrown the crystal that was clouded into the desert, and he was going to do it again with this batch. And Badger's like, fuck that. I worked hard to acquire all this stuff. Jesse's able to get Badger out of the RV, and then he takes off, leaving Badger in the desert. Skyler says Walt made a decision that didn't have the best interest of the family in mind. He has to wait to respond as she's the one that has the talking pillow. So this pillow's being passed around, and when you have the pillow, that's when you can speak. So Walt's got to wait for that opportunity. Skyler says it's okay to lean on people. You need this treatment. Hank's turn. He has the talking pillow now. He says he cares a lot about him, a hell of a lot, and he has been dealt a shit hand, but your luck can change. And then he gives Walt a baseball analogy. It's Walter Jr.'s turn. This is bullshit. He's pissed off. You're a pussy. You're ready to give up. What if you gave up on me, huh? He's been through a lot and hasn't given up, but his dad's scared of a little chemotherapy. Marie's turn. She says Walt should do what he wants to do. Marie talks about people that are in treatment being miserable, and then Hank's like, yeah, I agree with her now. And then they start arguing, and then Walt has to whistle, and he grabs the pillow and says, I've got the talking pillow now. I don't remember if he said it that sadistic, but he was happy to have the pillow so he could talk. And Walt wants a choice. He says he feels like he never makes any of his choices. What good is it to just survive the work, is to work, enjoy a meal, make love? He wants the time he has left to live on his own, in his own house, sleep in his own bed, and not have to take a bunch of pills. And he chooses not to do it. Walt wakes up in the morning without Skyler in bed next to him, and then Walt goes in the kitchen when Skyler is scrubbing some dishes and puts his arms around her and says he'll do the treatment. Skyler seems relieved, and we're already ready to start treatment. Things have progressed pretty quickly. Walt will take care of things, then pay with the credit card, and then Elliot will send a check. Gretchen calls Walt saying Elliot told her about the cancer. Says he has to accept the money for his treatment. He declines the offer yet again, saying the insurance came through after all, so I am covered. She tells him to keep in touch, and Walt says thank you for calling. And then Walt goes back to Jesse Pinkman's place, and he asks Jesse if he wants to cook, which ends the episode. So good stuff here. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to score the episode an 8.0 out of 10. My characters of the episode, I have to go with Skyler, even though a lot of people had strong performances that potentially equaled her, like Walt. And then for the males, I'm going to go with Jesse, because he's the one that did the cook. He wanted to be a perfectionist. Well, he did the cook and didn't do it right, but he wanted to make it perfect. It's like he forgot one of the steps that Mr. White had taught him, and then he had to deal with Badger and his ridiculousness during this cook. So Jesse and Skyler are the characters of the episode with the 8.0 score. So you've heard what I had to say about Gravedigger. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash that like button. Share this video with a friend. If you have a friend out there that hasn't watched Breaking Bad, make sure they fucking watch this show. Share the video with anybody you know besides that. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Breaking Bad. What would you score the episode? And who, if you have to choose, would be your male and female character of the episode? Really, Walt is the character of almost every episode, but if you have to look past Walt, that's kind of what I look at. And sometimes I give it to Walt depending on how good he is. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Join the team, show your damn support, be a part of something special, subscribe to the channel, and JDev will return. And remember, I'm in the Empire business.